Greetings, wanderers. Today's topic is: why do some Americans fear free healthcare? This post got a lot of attention. Thanks for keeping it relatively civil, the mod team appreciates that. If you do notice anything that doesn't follow the community rules, please hit the report button for us. My old colleagues in the red state genuinely, that socialized medicine will lead to socialism. They have all been taught to conflate social democracy and communism. That's pretty much it. The idea of public schools, roads, infrastructure, and helping the elderly is expected and not called socialism. Asking for our taxes back in the form of healthcare is communism and only works everywhere else. The people making money off the healthcare system obviously won't make as much money anymore. Which is bullshit, because we always pay one way or another. The other is the fear that the quality of care will not be as good. As in, the system is so slammed that you can't get appointments or surgeries quickly enough. Imagine the DMV but your hospital. Which is bullshit, because it's a matter of who pays for healthcare, not who runs the service. Please stop. As a Canadian, I can tell you that you will do much better as an American with good health insurance than you will as a Canadian. There have been high-profile cases of Canadian politicians going to the US for urgent care. Your best bet here is to have doctors in your family. That is seriously messed up. Edit: I am not saying that overall the US system is superior. It isn't. Okay? But the quality of care under a fully socialized system will be a step down for those Americans who are receiving the very best healthcare in the US, and probably paying a lot for it. Clear now? For free, paid for by taxes. This is an oxymoron, and that's the crux of the matter. As someone that is from Wales, where we have free healthcare, I feel like I understand why. I pay for private healthcare insurance despite the NHS, because the NHS is so shockingly bad that I would seriously fear for my life if I had to depend on it for anything other than the most superficial/trivial things. It's actually hard to overstate how bad it is, so essentially I have to pay twice for healthcare, once through taxation and again through an insurance scheme. Also, those death panels, they're real, not only just in terms of them refusing treatment after doing a cost/benefit analysis, but also in terms of the government will go as far as taking you to court, as you are dying, in order to stop you seeking any alternative, potentially life-prolonging, treatment elsewhere, even if you are paying for it yourself. Read about what happened to Siddiq Shah Thirumanglesh if you doubt this. There are other things wrong with the American healthcare system, and simply socializing costs as they exist now would not fix the underlying problem. Medicare for all, as proposed by Bernie Sanders, which is the most likely way it would work, would cost $3 to $4 trillion a year, which would nearly double federal spending and therefore the tax rate. Personally, I'd rather not pay a 60% total tax rate. The underlying problem is cost disease and dysfunctional service markets that aren't required to compete on costs. Medical care costs far more than it should given what's required to provide it. A bag of saline costs hundreds of dollars for basically no reason. You need to fix that problem before you socialize it. And if you do fix it, medical care becomes affordable enough that normal insurance actually works, and you can provide a voucher to low-income people or something. Maybe it's still worth socializing it, but the stakes are a lot lower either way. Would cost $3 to $4 trillion a year, which would nearly double federal spending and therefore the tax rate. Federal discretionary spending. 2022, the federal budget was $6.3 trillion. Doubling the discretionary budget from $1.7 trillion to $3.4 trillion would bump the overall budget to $8 trillion. Nowhere near double. Additionally, the CBO states that the M4A plan would cost $1.3 to $3 trillion per year, not $3 to $4 trillion. So, realistically, a 25% increase. Free healthcare really means we share the burden. It isn't free. It costs money. It costs less because you take insurance companies and their profits out of the mix. The right does not share the belief that you should help me if I need it. They blow that out of proportion by claiming universal healthcare is socialist or communist. No Western country with universal healthcare is communist. The right believes in no free rides for ordinary individuals. They don't believe that for corporations and the wealthy, it costs a lot less. But also corporate-sponsored politics doesn't want programs like this, because it allows you to risk freely leaving less ideal jobs for better ones or quitting. Same with unemployment insurance, and even to some extent welfare that isn't workfare. In my European country the taxes are insane, while at the same time you don't get a doc appointment easily and also have to pay for extra services like blood work. Since I'm never sick, I'd rather keep that part of my salary and use it for other things rather than making my insurance company rich. It's not free. The government collects taxes to support it and regulates it so you don't abuse the system, i.e. blocks that procedure because reasons. There's a popular trope in the US that the scariest thing a stranger could say to you is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." There's a widespread mistrust of government, and putting your healthcare in the hands of those you don't trust is a big risk. Mainly because the federal government can't run anything. The wait times are literally insane. A fellow Canadian